Hello and welcome to this session. My name is Boris, and I'm going to be walking you through how to build a customer journey using SQL. So let's go ahead and get started. And so a few things we'll cover today. Um, Customer journey, what is it? We'll also look at some of the elements that we'll need to use from SQL to build that customer journey. We'll take a quick look at our data, the lead function, which is one of the key drivers behind building a customer journey using SQL, and then we'll also dive into a coding example as well. So, customer journey, what is it? We can define a customer journey as a succession of interactions by a consumer across multiple channels. These channels may comprise email, website, mobile application, call center, social media, or in store purchases. So, what does that really mean? If you take a look at our example, you can see here that on day one, Alice responds to an email. Day two, she calls the call center. Day three, she visits the company website. And then on day seven, she decides to make a purchase. And so that ultimately is a customer journey. When someone enters into our system, making contact or engaging with our product, whatever that product is, it could be, for example, a purchase on Amazon. It could be also include someone purchasing an airline ticket. And so that's all part of the customer journey. Every activity or every engagement with the product would constitute, for example, a customer journey. So if you're thinking about an airline, if a person calls in to purchase a ticket, maybe before they purchased the ticket, they responded to an email, or they searched for information on our website, or perhaps they made contact with a travel agent. That would be a part of that person's um, customer journey. Hopefully, if you're the airline, from the airline's perspective, you're hoping that that will culminate in the purchase of an airline ticket. So then, how do we track a person's customer journey with SQL? So there are three basic steps. Step one, we build out what we would call our main code, and you can see here that building out of our main code would include what's called a lead function. And so within that lead function, you can see you have a few things. You have the offset, the partition by, and then also the order by. These are all key elements in terms of determining, helping to us to derive or be able to see a person's customer journey. And then once there, we go on to step two, where we encase the main code in what's called the common table expression. And you can see that here, where you have, in my syntax is referred to as myCTE as step one. So this is actually referencing the SQL code from step one, and then from there we'll go on and see step three, and so then we'll create the what's called the customer journey data set. And you can see here you have this code here where you have select star from where offset equals 0, and so you can see here where we have our that this is a reference to step two. So in essence, what you have between steps 1 through 3, you have a progressive building of the the customer journey data set. And so when we think about our data set, let's just take a look at what that would actually comprise. You can see that we'll have two data sets that we'll be working with. Our interactions, and the interactions are those activities such as email, website, mobile application, call center. It's really any set of activities that a customer has generated by interacting with our products. And then we also have our orders data as well. And so that's essentially any purchases that are made by the consumer. So why don't we just kind of dive a little bit deeper and take a look at what we call our lead function. And so our lead function, the base syntax, and as I mentioned before, this is the primary driver in terms of being able to identify or build out the customer journey data set. So you can see here that we have the lead, we have the return value, the offset, the partition by, the order by as well. And so essentially what the partition by does, it actually groups the consumer or customer ID. Then also you can see here the order by sorts the interactions by the interaction date. So that's data here. And so you can see here that we, in this example, we are sorting the interaction date by ascending. And so you can see here that it goes from the the oldest date to the most recent date. And while at the same time it does that, it's also sorting the interactions as well. And you can see here that that's captured in this portion of the code here. And then also you can see the offset accesses the next row that follows the current row as well. And so essentially what that means is, for example, if in this table or data set here, you can see that our offset is set to equal to 0. And that offset is actually acting upon this interaction column, which is this right here. So in this case, you can see that we have mobile here with an offset equal to 0. So then what that means is you would get mobile here. In this instance, we have an offset equals to 1. And so in this case, you can see here that this web is also offset to 1. And so then that's the value that would be returned here. Likewise, you can see here that this mobile, this offset is 2. And so this is a mobile here, and it will return a mobile value here. And then also the offset here is set to 3. And so this value would be, for the fourth interaction, would be mobile as well. And so in this case, what we'll be building in our example is we'll be building code where we can see the first, second, third, and then also the fourth interaction. And so in each one of the, as we build the code, we'll be using separate lead functions to capture the interactions or the offsets. So what we'll do is we'll see, for example, lead interaction where I have a 0, then they will also create, and that'll be what we refer to as the first interaction. And then we'll also have a lead function where it's 1, and then that'll be a second interaction, and then we'll have one for third and fourth, so on and so forth. So why don't we just go ahead and jump right into the code, and we'll work through that. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started building out our code. And so the first thing we'll do, we'll start with step 1. And so step 1 is used to build the main code. And so then I'm going to join my interactions data and also my orders data. And you can actually see that those data sets here. So you have interactions and also orders here. And so I'm going to join these tables on the customer ID because those are the two common fields that are in common. So public here, inner join, and I'm going to make this an alias, inner join public dot orders T2 on T1 dot customer ID equals T2 dot customer ID And so then I'm going to add in my select statement, add my columns. Let's select. And add in the customer ID, customer, select dot customer, underscore ID, T1 dot interaction, and also T1 channel interaction. And so I'm going to change this to interaction so it's consistent with what we had discussed earlier. When I originally brought the data in, I brought it in as a channel underscore interaction, but we really want to refer to it in, at least, like I mentioned, for consistency, and then also I think it's a lot clearer when we use the word interaction. And so now I'm going to add in the lead function. And so we'll go lead T1 channel underscore interaction. And then the offset 0. And so the reason we're offsetting to 0 because this would actually give us our first interaction. And so if you recall from the earlier conversation, we're going to have 3 interactions. We'll have our first interaction, second interaction, and then also a third interaction as well. So then I'm going to say over our partition by, and so this is going to partition all the records by the customer ID, underscore ID, and then we'll order by the T1 interaction date, underscore, let me back up here, underscore date, then ascending as well. And so that should give us our first interaction. First interaction. Let's see. Interaction. So that's that there. Let me see if this runs. Make sure we don't have any errors in here. Okay, so then that's our first interaction. And you can see here that these values are interaction. And so I'm going to go ahead and just copy and paste this one here instead of retyping all the logic. Copy. I'm going to put this in here. We'll have the second interaction, third interaction, and then also the fourth interaction. And so to get those values, what we'll do is we'll add, excuse me, this is 1, gives us our second interaction, and 2, we'll get 3, and that's the first. And so we'll change this to second here, third, and then also fourth, like this. Fourth interaction. And so run it. Let me see here. I don't think I need that, so I won't highlight it. Okay, and so here you can see where we have our first interaction. So this is our customer ID, our interaction here. First interaction, second, third, and then also the fourth interaction as well. And so also I'm going to add in here what's called the offset. And so then that'll help be able to explain this a little bit easier. And so in order to get the offset, we will use a function called the row number. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video and just add that additional code in, primarily because I don't want the video to get too long. And so right now I think I'm probably at around 14 or 15 minutes or so. And so let me just kind of pause it. And then once I get through writing the code, I'll continue. I'll come back and explain this portion. Give me just a second. Thank you. Okay, so I'm back. So here you can see that I added the offset here. You can also see I added the product purchase as well, and then also the order by customer ID. And so by adding the offset, it just kind of gives us or helps us to be able to explain it a little bit better. And so to get to the offset, I use the row number. And so the row number is then applied to each customer ID within this based on the partition and then also the interaction date here. And so this should be ascending, but it automatically defaults, but I will add ascending here just so that it's clear. And then I use a -1 to get to the offset. So it would actually match these values here. So in this instance, this would normally be 1 as the row number, but it's setting this to a -1, sets this to 0 here. Well, 0 here, 1, 2, and 3 here as well. So it's actually matching. And so anytime, for example, in this case here, we have an offset of 0. And you can see here, this mobile is here. And so that's our first interaction. And that matches what we would expect to see in the data. And then also this is web. And so that's set to 1. And that's our second interaction here. And you would expect to see that here. And likewise, mobile, third, the offset here as the third interaction. You'll see mobile here. And then you also see mobile here. And so that's going to actually give us our table, meaning that we're actually able to see how people pass from either a first interaction to a second interaction, and then also a third interaction. And so in the instance of this customer here, you can see that he or she first interacted with our product at mobile, and then they became web, and then mobile again. Likewise here, you can see that this person was direct mail, and then also direct mail here. Direct mail here, web here, email, and then web again. And so that completes our first step. So the next thing we want to do is step 2, which is encase this within a with temp or a CTE as it's formally called, but sometimes you can call it as a CTE as well. And so we'll say with CTE data as, and we'll just add this here, a open paren, and then also a close paren here. And so then that is going to complete our step 2. And so we'll just say step 2, just to make sure we note everything correctly. Step 2. And then we'll add in our step 3, which is this here. So we're going to create our table, our interaction table. Let me see here. Or rather, our build out the customer journey table is what I meant to say. So we'll say step 3, build customer journey table. Customer and so we'll go from select first interaction. Let's go interaction. And I'm going to copy and paste these here just to help me a little bit quicker. me see. This is change this to second interaction, and then we'll go. In this instance, just to keep the example simple, what I'm going to do is just actually have the first and the second interaction. And so, like I said before, I'm going to be providing you with the data. So if you want to add in the third and fourth interaction, it's just a matter of adding in these columns and things like that. And so the primary reason why I'm stopping at the first and second interaction is because it just makes it easier if you want to visualize the data using something called a Sankey chart. And so in order for us to have a really good Sankey chart, we'd have to have hundreds of thousands of interactions. And so since I didn't, I think my data says somewhere around 20,000 records or so, it just makes it a lot easier to see and glean some insights by having the first and second interactions. So I'm just going to also add in the purchase here. I hope that makes sense to you. If not, feel free to shoot me a question in the comment section, and I can try to explain it a little bit better to you. And then the count. Count. Let me correct the spelling here. Count the customer ID. So this is the count of customers who actually purchased something. So it's a total of customers, and from, I think it's the CTE data, from CTE data, where offset is equal to 0, CTE data. That's interesting. CTE where offset is equal to 0. And so the reason that we use the offset is set is equal to 0 because we actually just want to return records that are fully populated, or rows that are fully populated. So if you take a look at here, you can see these are all across here is 0. These are fully populated. This across here is 0 as well. And so just as a good rule of thumb, I would say you should always, or in most instances, use the 0. I would also add that you probably want to look and know what's in your data as well. And that'll kind of give you an indication in terms of how to handle this part of the code. And so we can go here, let's say group by first interaction, comma, second interaction, and also purchase. Let me see here. Let me run it. Hopefully that is done correctly. Got my comma there. And so, run it, cross our fingers, group by. So there's an error there. Let me try to figure that out. Let me see. Okay, I think it's this right here. This is actually, I think, a reserved word. So we need to change this and make this a column. Let me see here. We'll run it. Okay, and so this is another error here. And so add that comma. Okay, and so you can see here where you have the first interaction, the second interaction, then the purchase, and then total number of customers. And so what this indicates is that there were 33 customers who had, in this instance, since we're only seeing the first and second interactions, who used direct mail um, prior to purchasing. And so you can see here that we have direct mail for motorcycles and then also classic cars as well. And so that pretty much wraps it up in terms of how to build this customer journey or see a customer journey. Okay, well, that's going to wrap it up for us. And so thank you for taking the time to watch my video. I hope you found it to be useful. And as always, I like to say stay curious, keep learning, and keep growing. Take care.